Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 85 of Nintendo Noise, Flip Screen Games weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Radford, joined today, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Miss Sierra Plus Ultra.
Up?
Welcome back. It's been a while. How you been?
I've been good. I've been busy, but I'm like so glad to be sat back here and ready to talk games.
Yeah. So, what have you been busy with if people aren't following you over on social media and don't know?
I'm recording an album with my band with Sales Ahead. You can follow us at with Sales Ahead on social media. Finishing up an album, our first full-length album. So that's been keeping me away, but we're almost finished. We're in the final stretch.
And we're gonna plug the hell out of it when it's finished and ready and up on Spotify and everything. But go search for With Sales Ahead if you're not following them already. Go check them out. Sierra's band. This week, though, we have the perfect opener to the show because it's just me and you, and I know nothing about this, so I was really glad that you were back. Pokemon Stadium is finally coming to Nintendo Switch on April 28th, April 12th. How do you feel about this, Sierra?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been waiting for this day for literally years. I remember when they started to roll out N64 games for NSO in 2021? And I was like, please, please, Pokemon Stadium. And then we waited and we waited. We got the announcement last year, and then now we finally have a date, and I'm thrilled. Only thing is like there's no connection or, like, no connectivity to transfer in your own
I
Pokemon.
know, which is so strange, especially considering Game Boy games are now on Switch Online. You'd kind of think that maybe they would put some of the old Pokemon Game Boy games on there and allow you to bring them over, because that was always the big fun of it, right? Is you put together your roster on Game Boy and then you could see them on the big screen at home. Well, I say big screen, the tiny little 12-inch 4x3
The
that you
CRT.
had.
Ah, miss those days. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I'm excited to play, like, the mini games. I'm glad there'll be an online functionality. So you'll still be able to battle people. You can play, hopefully, the Clefairy and the Lickitung games and, like, oh my god, I remember, like, weekday mornings before school, like, booting up the N64 and playing as long as I could before the bus came. But, yeah, it is weird you can't, like, transfer in your own teams. I remember playing Pokemon Stadium recently at a friend's house, and, it was fun, but, like, you only I don't know, like, you kinda pick teams, like, off of, like, what they give you.
Yeah.
Um It would be fun to be able to bring in your own mons and whatnot, but I suppose you're limited to what the game like, the original 151 anyway. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good, like, healthy dose of nostalgia, and, yeah, hopefully it plays smoothly online.
I imagine this is gonna be one you'll be streaming if people
Yes,
want
for
to
sure.
check it out. But like, what team do you think would be your dream team or what team did you have back in the day that you would bring over if you could?
Charizard for sure. Dragonite, um, Nidoking, Pikachu. I'm sorry, but, like, as a kid, Pikachu was just a staple. I'm sorry, I'm a Pikachu enjoyer, I don't care. That's 4, right? Uh, Big Lapras fan, and then, what's it called? Gotta get a psychic in there. Alakazam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone should shame any of our generation for enjoying Pikachu. Like, we grew up with him. He was the at the forefront of the anime series with Ash. It was his sidekick.
I know, like, people I don't know. I think that, to my knowledge, like, Pikachu is just not the strongest electric type that you can use in a competitive context. I don't care.
That reminds you. I remember going to like an event. I think it was EGX, and they had Smash Brothers there before it released, Ultimate.
Mhm.
And I had never played Smash Brothers, but I knew that Bayonetta was like the strongest character in Smash Brothers, so I picked her.
Yeah.
I got like completely destroyed by Kirby because I still had no clue what I was doing. I
No.
I still have no idea what I was doing. I did a like crash course on stream with AJ once, and I still have zero clue how to play that game. I don't know how you do it.
Felt it's honestly fundamentals, which I still struggle with too. Like, it's the whole, like, rock, paper, scissors of, attack, grabbing, and shield, and then, just being quick to read people. There's, so many nuances.
Hmm. Well, before we get into kind of the bigger stories in the question block this week, I want to highlight a new website that appeared seemingly out of nowhere this week, which is Nintendo-Systems.com. And this is a new website. It was a joint venture announced a while back between Nintendo and DeNA, which is the mobile firm that they worked with on a bunch of games. But it seems really interesting. It doesn't seem like this is going to be a game company. So the announcement said that we aim to create unique entertainment innovations by fusing Nintendo and DeNA's respective commitments to entertainment and technology. And Nintendo Systems was born in April 2023, led by a team of engineers from Nintendo and DeNA to create a system that makes it easy to deliver Nintendo entertainment to consumers. So I kind of presumed this was going to be them kind of teaming up to bolster their mobile operation, and we'll talk a little bit more about Nintendo's mobile stuff a little bit later on in the show. But it seems like maybe that's not the case, and maybe they want DeNA for something else, or they're partnering up with DeNA for something else. When it comes to systems, to what was it they said? A system that makes it easy to deliver Nintendo entertainment to consumers. What do you think that maybe means?
I know, right? Like, if they already have this relationship with DNA to, deliver what already have been, like, really successful mobile games like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, um, I wonder if this is kind of an effort to either put forth, like, new IP at a faster new mobile IP at a faster rate, or, um, kind of catch up to what other, like, competitors in the gaming space are doing on mobile. Maybe even, like, streamline, UI on mobile gaming.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that there's the mobile's probably one angle. They did mention a really weird sentence, and it didn't make any sense to me for a while, and I kind of thought about it a little bit more. So that it says technological developments surrounding entertainment are expected to continue to develop. From obsolete technology to cutting edge technology, we will continue to take on the challenge of bringing smiles to as many customers as possible through Nintendo Entertainment. Now, the obsolete technology was the weird thing, but I guess maybe they're partnering up and doing some kind of emulation thing, or maybe they're going to be looking at exploring some, I don't know, like FPGAs and like mini consoles again that they did before, and doing something like another like mini NES and SNES. Or they could be doing something like cloud streaming and kind of streaming some of the games that maybe are a little bit more difficult to emulate, and working with DNA to have this system to deliver Nintendo Entertainment. Who knows? We're just gonna have to kind of keep an eye on what they're doing and what they've announced. It definitely seems like it's very Nintendo focused from the name of the company, anyway.
Yeah, so what I gather is, like, I feel like they are missing an opportunity to expand further into the mobile space, maybe trying to think beyond Nintendo consoles, um, and, improve their offerings there, and then I know, because like, cloud is, like, something that they're criticized for a lot, so maybe they're kind of looking at that feedback and looking to, improve upon and even expand, what they can do in that space.
I think cloud right now is just a bit disappointing. Every single time I've tried it, it's not really been where it needs to be the experience that people expect. But I could see that in the future that's maybe where video games go. And I do think that Nintendo has kind of put things in place to maybe secure their future that isn't necessarily selling consoles. We've seen with the Nintendo Pictures stuff and venturing out into movies and entertainment. Then they've got the theme parks and venturing out into that section. And we've also now got potentially something with DNA. They've got the subscription service with Switch Online, and potentially that could continue on to the next console and have like a subscription service. Maybe it turns into more of like a Game Pass thing. Maybe the expansion pack adds on like a cloud element, or you kind of rent Switch games, or maybe it kind of ties in with the mobile thing, and you subscribe to that, and you get something in, say, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. There's a bunch of things I think they could do, but I think this is probably about securing their future and figuring out um, what their place is after consoles kind of become defunct. Because I think there's been that conversation every single generation. It seems to be, oh, this is the last generation. This is the last generation. Everyone's going mobile, and I think Nintendo's managed to kind of defy that. But the handheld console's dead. It doesn't exist anymore. Nintendo was the last kind of outlier there, but and they went fully in on the hybrid handheld home console. There is no one making a handheld console anymore. Um, so I think potentially if they want to stick in the mobile space, I don't know if they do. This is the way they do it with DNA.
Yeah, definitely like a good first step. I wonder what this will mean for like like the shape of like Nintendo's trajectory
Hmm.
and like yeah, like if they I wonder if they were like, I don't know if we can do better than the Switch. We should start planning for other for other situations where we might do like I don't know, like maybe they might need mobile as like a plan B if they feel like whatever comes after the Switch is a big flop.
Mobile seemed like it was going to be one of their strategies for a long time. Like they had Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, they had the Fire Emblem game. There was that other game that they recently shut down. I can't remember the name of, and someone's probably shouting at me about it because it was beloved by many, but not enough for Nintendo.
Don't worry, I don't know what it
Um,
is either.
but then like they've also got Pokemon Go, which is one of the most successful mobile games out there still, and there's still thousands, if not millions, of people playing that thing, and it was like a phenomenon. And I think
Right?
maybe they're kind of still chasing that a little bit, but I don't know if they can ever get back to that height again.
Oh, I know. Closest we got to world peace.
I know it was great. Did you see some of the changes they're making to that? I don't know if you're still playing Pokemon Go at all.
Oh, I tried to read on it, but, because I saw that, it's becoming such a huge problem in the community now that Joe Merrick threw his support behind the cause, but I didn't get to read specifics. I know that what's happening is they are implementing, changes to the game that will greatly affect users in rural areas, especially with regard to raids, but I didn't get to read specifics.
Yeah, from what I've read during the pandemic, they added in functionality for like remote raids, so you could raid from home and you didn't have to go to those areas. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and that was great for people not only just stuck at home and couldn't go out because of COVID, but also people who were potentially less able in a wheelchair or in a
Yeah.
rural area and couldn't travel that far into the city to go to the places where there are raids going on, and they're kind of backtracking on that from what I can tell. I'd be
Oh,
interested to hear from some of the people listening if that affects you and kind of how you feel about that, because I do remember I live in a rural area and I remember the only time I could ever play Pokemon was when I was in work in the city, and that was literally the only time, and then the works office closed during the pandemic and it never opened again. So I'm hardly ever in the city anymore.
right. Like, I know all the good stuff happens in, like, major cities, like, I can play just fine for my own suburban area, I don't get the same experience, but that's fine with me, but if I were someone who was, like, more into it, I would be really upset that something like that was happening, 'cause if you're less abled, if financially you just cannot afford to make that trek, like, that's
Yeah.
another thing, and it just doesn't make sense to me to gatekeep people from being able to participate. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it's a strange
Yeah.
decision, and hopefully with Joe Merrick behind it, the guys over on the Pokemon Go team at, Niantic actually listen and, and maybe backtrack on
Yeah,
some of the
right.
changes.
I agree.
Before we get into some more news, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers for the month of April. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valens, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Sobi, Snacky Goat, Ty the Dude, and Wakahula. Thank you so much for your support over at patreon.com/flipscreengames. You can head over there and get a bunch of cool stuff like early access to videos and podcasts, your name read on the air or in the credits at the end of the show. And of course, we really appreciate everyone that helps us keep the lights on and the mics rolling. But if you can't give us any money, no problem. We are available free to listen, and we have many other podcasts. You can go find them over on flipscreen.games. Listen to our show just about general video games, the Flipscreen Games podcast. We've got a podcast about the Steam Deck. We've seemingly got so many podcasts going on at the moment. So go find them all over on flipscreen.games. And also come and join our Discord. That's the best way to get in contact with us after the conversation here ends. You can come and continue the conversation over there. Ask us questions like the people that did at the end of the show today, and we will answer them on the show. So, Sierra, I've got a question for you while we're talking about questions. Have you ever experienced JoyCon Drift?
Have I? Frame one. No, I think it started to really kick in in late 2019 or like 2020. And just bought new ones and kept it rolling. I never sent them in, even though I should have. I'm an impatient guy. How about
No,
you?
see, I think many people did the same thing because I did the same thing. I was just, my Joy-Cons drifted and I was like, F this, and I bought the Splatoon colored ones, the green and the pink ones, because I was like, okay, these will work for a while. Then they started drifting, and so I bought replacement sticks because I didn't want to send in 2 sets of drifting Joy-Cons and be without my Joy-Cons, so I couldn't play my Switch for a while. And now then all of them started drifting. I've since replaced the sticks with the Guilikit Hall Effect sticks, and I can talk a
Mhm.
little bit about those in a bit, but. This week, we saw the European Commission get involved in the conversation about JoyCon Drift. Apparently, they have contacted Nintendo to address the recurring technical problem with the irresponsive Switch controllers, and they've agreed to offer all consumers the right to repair free of charge beyond the legal guarantee. And now, this extends to people in the EU, Switzerland, and the UK. So I'm really fortunate that I can get my Joy-Cons repaired for free forever. But it doesn't extend worldwide. So as far as I'm aware, people in America, you get like a fixed limited warranty, and then you send them in, and if it's past the warranty, they won't repair them. Is that right?
So, if I remember correctly, and I probably am not, I think that for a while it was for free. So within that warranty, and now you have to pay for at least the shipping.
Yeah.
It's possible that that is expanded to also require the repair. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, things have changed. Um, they definitely cracked down on that in the US at the least.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation. And we also had which in the UK is a kind of consumer watchdog. I guess similar to Consumer Reports in America, right? I think that's what they're called. Um, and they'll go in and they'll keep an eye on things. They'll review products, but they also have a director of policy and advocacy. Whoever there is Rocio Concha, and they said as well as free repairs, Nintendo also needs to commit to compensation, refunds, or replacements for any consumer who has been impacted by this issue since the launch of the console, and promote this scheme so that consumers know that support is available. Because I think a lot of people probably were in the same boat as me and you, whereby they just bought new Joy-Cons and they didn't need to,
Oh
and
yeah.
or they repaired them themselves, or they took them to a local repair shop and got them repaired, or maybe they had to pay Nintendo during a window where it wasn't free, or pay for postage at least. And I kind of agree with Rocio on this, and at which it sucks. It sucks that I have had to repair my Joy-Cons on many occasions. It's not just once. Those parts fail frequently, and I genuinely cannot believe it's still not been addressed. The solution is just a band-aid solution to just repair them forever. But when does forever end? Because at some point,
Exactly.
forever will come to an end.
I know, like, surely, surely, at the very least, they would've, like, started promoting and selling, like, an upgraded Joy-Con, better parts, and this could be, like, a long-term solution to having to repeatedly send in your controllers to get fixed. No, we're just working with the same shit and until the next generation comes along, and then oh my god, I shudder to think at what the quality of those controllers will be if it's gonna have the same
Well, it's
problem.
like, think about the N64 controllers that you buy used at like a garage sale now. The loosest, wobbliest stick that you know is going to be crap to play with. That's the situation we're going to be with Joy-Cons in like 5, 10, 15 years whenever Nintendo stops making these things or decides to stop repairing them. Because I can't
Right.
imagine at this point that the next Switch that they offer is going to have the same part. Because how much is this going to cost them if they've got to eventually replace the stick in every single Joy-Con they've ever produced? They've made over 100 million Nintendo Switches. If every single Joy-Con fails, that's over 200 million sticks they've got to make and
The
sell and
disaster.
repair. That's a lot of money.
Ugh, I know. I really wish that they put more care into this product in the first place. Um, I guess, like, I don't know what goes through a big developer's mind, a big gaming publisher, like, surely surely if we make and sell these and, like, a couple come back, like, defunct, just a few, it's not a big loss. It's been, like, almost all of them. It's just not a good look. It
Well,
really
plus it's like
isn't.
it's a ongoing conversation that I feel like every Nintendo Switch owner has a conversation about. It's just like, oh yeah, my sticks are drifting, so I can't play at the moment.
Yeah.
So I've got to get them fixed, or I've got to get them repaired, or I've got to think of something. Like mine started drifting around the same time yours did. I remember playing Animal Crossing, and my character was just I was not even touching the thing, and he'd be wandering off, just like
That
going.
was when it started to get really bad for me. Like, I noticed it start to happen when Sword and Shield came out, and that was only, like, y I got my Switch in 2018, so not that long. Like, I was, like, playing Sword and Shield, I'm like, "This is kinda weird, but whatever." And then when the pandemic came and I was playing 6 hours a day, that just did 'em in.
hmm and I know it's
Yeah.
not just limited to the Joy-Con. I know other controllers do also drift anything with a potentiometer in. But man, it really feels like the Joy-Con, maybe because of their size and like how small those sticks are in comparison to say on a
Right.
PlayStation or an Xbox, that it's way more of an issue or exacerbated by its size because it's got less of travel to move, so the movements are
Mhm.
greater, and it sucks. It sucks that that's the case. Now there is a third party solution to this that I've managed to get hold of and put into my Joy-Con. Have you heard of Hall effects sensors or sticks?
I don't think so.
So these are like a different technology that's used, and they use magnets to track rather than like an
Oh,
actual physical part. So when it's like two magnets and they're not even touching each other, and it uses a magnet, and so that it's apparently impossible for them to drift ever. So I
wow.
bought a kit and I put them in my Joy Cons. They feel really good. They feel the same as the normal Nintendo Switch part, and only time will tell, I guess, as to whether they do drift. But if they don't, I've spent I think it was 28.70 it was on Amazon, and so it's like £15 for each of them. But if I've got a set of Joy Cons that will last me forever now, then I'll be very very happy about that.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Definitely keep us posted with updates,
Yeah, I
like,
will do.
long term.
And
Yeah, oh my god.
have you ever
I was gonna say
opened up your Joy Cons at all?
no, I'm so scared. I'm so terrified.
Yeah,
Like,
Pete's the
maybe if I
same.
had, like I guess I could take my spare care since I'm not using them anyway, right? And just be like, what's the worst that could happen? They're already like drifting,
Yeah,
like whatever.
or if Doc's listening, you've just got to do what Pete did, which was get Doc to repair them for you.
Oh,
So,
true. Yeah,
yeah, just be like,
that's
yeah,
true.
can you
That's
fix
true.
these for me? I don't think Pete's still not opened them. Doc left a message inside one of the Joy-Cons for him, but he's still not read it. So at some point we need to get him to open up those Joy-Cons.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I that's something I should learn. I feel like it's just good to know. You don't have to know, but like, um, I have always been curious. It's just like that fear of just breaking something even further. But
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of good
See, I
resources
used to
out
do that
there.
when I was a kid, so like I think I got the breaking things out of me, and it's just got to go careful when you open it. But iFixit had like a bunch of good guides, and the Joy Cons are so easy to repair. There's just a couple of delicate connectors you have to take out, but if you
Right.
if you're pulling a dead stick out anyway, you can just yank that thing out and not worry about ripping the cable. It doesn't
That's
really
true.
matter.
Yeah. The magnet thing blows my mind. If that turns out to be a really amazing solve, I'm kind of thinking like, why didn't they just do that in the first place?
Right? Yeah, I know. Because these sticks got released for, I think it was the PlayStation 5 controller that had drifting problems as well.
Wow.
But then
Okay.
they scaled it down to the Joy-Con size. They said it was really difficult to make it so it fit into to that space,
Mhm.
so it can fit into a Joy-Con. But they managed to do it apparently, and so far so good. But kind of fingers crossed that it stays that way because I've replaced these sticks. This will be the third time now
Oh my
that
god.
I've replaced them. So I've replaced
Same.
them with parts that Pixelpar, our former host over at Lootpots, um, told me to get their official OEM parts from Nintendo, and they still suck. They still break. Of course they do, because the original ones did.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, on to some questions from the community over on Discord. We've got a bunch of a bunch of questions together. I don't know if we'll get through all of them, but we will do our best. The first question comes from Olaf, aka Yarno, and wanted to ask this question because we had an interview with Miyamoto this week over at Variety. He's been out doing the rounds, plugging the movie that's coming out this weekend, and we'll probably have some impressions on the film next week, where he said that he was asked the question, "Will we see a new Mario game soon?" And Olaf's question is, "Will we see a new Mario game on the current Switch or the next Switch?" And he said, Miyamoto said, "All I can say is stay tuned for future Nintendo Directs." So, Sierra, do you think a new Mario game is imminent, or are we gonna have to wait for the next Switch?
I feel like, you know, anything is possible. We really thought a year ago that the next Breath of the Wild game was going to be on the next Switch. It's not. So I mean, we all thought that like maybe like whatever came next um Zelda would require a huge like hardware lift
Hmm.
um on the console, and they were just like, "No, look, see, it's fine." So it's like, okay. Odyssey runs fine on the Switch.
And looks
So if we were
gorgeous as well. Like that's
yeah,
one of the most beautiful games on the console, I think.
yeah. So I don't know. I like, of course, we've also heard speculation that like Gen 2 or like the next Switch successor is coming holiday 2023. I
Do you
feel
think that's
like
accurate? You think it's gonna come holiday 2023?
I don't know anymore. I like the reasoning I had in my head was like surely Nintendo would not just just surprise drop a huge um like generational console like change just last minute like month and like the year of its release. But I feel like I'm not ruling it out, is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna say, if you had to ask me for a definitive answer, I would say we'll get maybe one more new Mario game before this Switch is totally done. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had to wait till the next Switch as well. I just feel like we're either gonna get one more and then we're done with this current Switch, or we're gonna actually see a new one for holiday 2023, and that's gonna be the launch title.
I
But
think it's probably the launch title, and I think they do what they did with Breath of the Wild, where it launches on the Switch, but it's also on the new console, right? Because Breath of the Wild also
right,
launched on the Wii U. It was the final game on that console. I don't think we're going to get it this year. Nintendo said they pulled out of E3 because they didn't have enough to show, and I kind of believe them. We've got Tears of the Kingdom coming. We've also got the new Pikmin game. That's on the way, allegedly for 2023. So
mm,
I don't know that they've got room then for a Mario game, plus the Pokemon DLC, plus continuing the Mario Kart DLC, plus the Xenoblade DLC. Like it's a very DLC packed year, but I don't know if they've
yeah,
got then capacity to also release a new Mario game and where that slots in. And do they want to risk? I mean, I guess a repeat of 2017 where they've got two of their games in for Game of the Year when they could push one a few months into next year and maybe
right,
have that as a launch title for the next console and have that as a contender for Game of the Year instead. It's going to be it's going to be a tough one. I would love to see a new Mario game this year and on the current Switch, but I do have a feeling that it's probably going to be the launch title on the next console because obviously Zelda isn't, and I think they want a big title for to be the launch title, and it makes sense for that to be a Mario game.
right. It just feels like such, like, a huge, like, lost opportunity if they don't at least announce a new Mario game the year of the movie coming out in theaters.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they announce it. Maybe they announce the ones in the works or something.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be enough for people.
Yeah, I could also see maybe a 2D Mario. Like that's the next question from Elf is for the
Mm.
next Mario game, will it be 2D or 3D? And will they stick to the formula from Odyssey from now on?
I think we're overdue for a 2D. I feel like that's what we're getting next. But I know people are hungry for an Odyssey sequel, so
Yeah, because I
I know
think
that would
people
be
were hungry for an Odyssey sequel when we got Mario Maker 2 and Mario 3D World. But I do think they were trying something new with Bowser's Fury, and I actually think they're going to want to revisit that formula and
mm,
expand upon that because it was so well received. I like that open world where you kind of go into these little mini worlds around the place, and there's like that one big world enemy that comes and kind of messes things up. I thought it was a really, really fresh take on Mario, and I could see
mhm.
them wanting to explore that. But Odyssey was also really successful for them, and why not kind of continue working on something that worked?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think Olaf said he's in his Mario mood, which I can tell. Um, he said, "Will the possible success? I think it probably is going to be a big success from the Mario Brothers movie affect the next Mario game release, since it's essentially free marketing for the games. Do you think that they kind of bring it up and release it soonish and like utilize that marketing, or do you think it's just a we use this and we kind of announce the game on the back of it?"
Do you mean, like so, like, from the movie hype, like, drive that towards,
Yeah,
like, a new game announcement? Okay. That's, like, what I'm hoping for sure. Because, like I said, like, I just, like it's a lost opportunity if they don't, like, take the buzz coming from this movie to promote something new.
I
But maybe
kind
they
of.
have
I
something
kind
else
of feel
in
like the only thing they're going to be promoting from is Mario Kart with the DLC. That's like the only thing they can flog at the moment. It's just like go buy the DLC.
Go
And
buy another
yeah,
Switch.
I could see them doing like I'm surprised we didn't see like a Mario Brothers movie Switch or something. I could have seen that, and you get like tickets to see the film or whatever. Maybe they do that with the
Right?
release of the movie at home. Yeah, like
Like, I
it feels
know
strange that they didn't do something like that.
right? Like, I know they have a whole ass theme park now. That's huge. But I feel like they could've I'm shocked that they didn't do more. Like, we're seeing, I don't know, like, Build-A-Bear as Yoshi, but I don't Yoshi's in the movie, right? I think
Yeah,
so.
many of them, I believe, like different colored
Yeah.
Yoshis, and there's like all the different toads.
Yeah, Shake Shack has a Mario movie promotion, like, they're rolling out, like, fun little things, but, like, I was shocked that, like nothing, game related was uh was promoted.
And that
Like
like that Mario Switch is one of my favorite ones with the red plastic on the actual
it's
like
so
Switch itself, and it's got like the blue dot. It looks so cool. I would love to have seen that, bundle it with like a movie ticket, flog the movie, and also
nice.
flog your console. But doesn't look like that's gonna happen. But then Nintendo seems to drop everything last minute anyway. Like look at the Zelda footage we got last week. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious because we've got a few questions about Zelda before we move into them. What did you think about that footage? We spoke about it last week in detail, but I'm curious. Like, what's your hype level on Tears of the Kingdom now?
Right, right. I I'm honestly still willing to give it a chance. I feel like many people are very upset that it's still looks to be, in the same world built out for Breath of the Wild. Like there's a lot of familiar like landscapes and stuff. Um I think that it's gonna be really good still. Um I thought that the fuse ability was really, like, interesting, and that honestly, like, enthused me greatly. I was like, um, I, like, never would have thought, like, they would have come up with something like that. I think that's wildly creative, and I think it really does well in adding, like, an extra layer onto, like, the gameplay that's already, like, so amazing and works so well in Breath of the Wild. So I loved that. I wasn't wowed by much else, but it seems like they are purposely hiding a lot.
Oh yeah, we
And
don't
I
know anything about the story. We've not seen a single dungeon or like big boss or anything. We know hardly anything. We've seen Link's abilities and that's it.
yeah, so they what that says to me is that they are so confident that not only will everyone buy this game anyway, but that we're all gonna like it.
That
So
their
I'm just
first
kind of
$70 game, I think they're pretty confident that people are gonna buy it
yeah.
because they were able to crank that price up and not worry about it at all.
I know, and then but they're promoting the voucher over the game in the eShop because they know people are bitching. I mean, listen, yeah, uh, like, the thing is, like, it still sucks, like, it's justified if they wanna bump up the price, I guess if they wanna, pay people involved with working on the game and, like, uh, account for inflation, but, I mean, we're all being affected by inflation, this sucks.
Hmm.
Like, doesn't feel good to pay 70 bucks, but we will all do it. We will all
Well, our first question from Dev Timmy said, "Is Tears of the not a Zelda game?" Because Tim, by the way, has this whole thing that Breath of the Wild is not a Zelda game because it doesn't have traditional dungeons and X, Y, and Z. Anyway, that aside, is it just going to be Link, nuts and bolts?
Link Minecraft, like, the Minecraft expansion.
Does that
I
concern
mean
you? Because we've got both the fuse ability, which does the weapons, but then we've got the Ultra Hands ability, where you can fuse items in the real world together to make vehicles or get to new areas or do whatever. Does that concern you? This just becomes a gimmick game.
I think it's like another puzzle, right? Like it's another puzzle for you to have to figure out on top of
Hmm.
everything else in the overworld. And I'm not good at puzzles. I'm not. So, I'm kind of like now I gotta like use my brain. I can't turn my brain off in a way that's like, just sit back and ride your horse and shoot things, and like, some dungeons, like, for the most part, like, the shrines I did okay. Like, just take a little longer to solve them if you need, but,
Or just look them up
uh
because they've all got names, thankfully, and you can just
yeah,
Google the name
exactly.
of the shrine and someone's already done it for you.
Right, so it's like, now I gotta be like, "Oh, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna cross this pond," like, by, like, figuring out what items on the land I need to fuse together and rig to make a yacht or, like an electric powered boat, like so, I'm not the kind of person that, like, loves that kind of challenge, but at least it will be a nice way to differentiate it from Breath of the Wild. Um, I'm sure there's gonna be something else I'm gonna love in the game that will make up for that.
Yeah, I actually think the puzzles are really compelling for me because I felt like we had a similar thing with the puzzles in Breath of the Wild, and all of the abilities were used in quite smart ways to solve the puzzles. But there was never really much out in the overworld, and it seems like there's a
Right.
lot more of that happening here. And we've not seen a single shrine, so we don't even know if they're in the game. I'd be fine if the
Yeah.
yeah, we've not seen them, so they might have be gone, and this might be the way the
Right.
puzzles instead. So the puzzles are how do you get to that new area over there and kind of explore that and figure it out with all of these new things because there's like new parts, new equipment, fans with batteries, and all sorts of cool stuff. So there's a lot going on. So I'm glad you. Were you a big fan of Breath of the Wild? I can't remember. I don't think you were you?
I was a reluctant enjoyer.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, it was my first, like, action adventure game. I like it. It's there are parts where, like, I could get lost and play for hours, but, reluctant, you know, like, combat guy. That's all. Like, um it frustrated me, like, that's where, like, the weapons breaking system comes into play, right? Like, when you're fighting guardians, like, ideally, you want to reflect the laser with your
Yeah.
shield. I I burned through all my shields the very last time that I played. Gone. Obliterated. I did it wrong every single attempt, and it was just like, I know this is, like, that's the most optimal way to destroy guardians. I need the parts. I'm almost done with the game, but that's where I'm stuck right now, and I'm actually like, I've been debating, like, "Do should I finish it before the sequel comes out?
Yes.
Because I okay. I know how the story ends because I've watched speed runs of the game many times,
Honestly, if you know that, then I don't think it really matters. But you could make a
oh,
run
okay.
for you could make a run for the castle already anyway, and just
I
go for it.
know. I
You
have
know?
the master sword, but, like, I wanted to have an easy time,
Yeah.
so that's why I try to go for guardian parts.
To be fair, you probably would have an easier time than trying to parry a guardian every single time and failing if you went and just took on Ganon
Really?
straight away. From what I
I
recall, he
feel
wasn't that difficult. I really struggled with the flurry rush. Do you remember how you have to do that to take on the Lionels? They're like and like you
yeah.
end up jumping up in the air and like hitting them on their horns and stuff. I really struggled with doing that and getting that combo.
Yeah, that stuff is hard. They teach you that so early on, and I still struggled with it the entire game. A lot of the game, I did not use most of the tactics that they try to teach you. I just hacked away. But it worked.
We've got a few questions here from AV over on Discord, and I'm probably not going to read all of them because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions.
Mm.
Um, and I want to focus on the Zelda ones and keep some of the other ones for when Pete's back. But he said, throw your wildest pitches for the use of the fuse ability in Tears of the Kingdom based on your memories of consumable items in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, consumable. So consumables only. Hmm.
That I guess you got like food items and then also like the stuff that you would make potions and poisons and things with. Um,
Right. I'm trying to think of yeah, like the things that come to my head immediately are like steak and key swing. But what would you do with that? Let's
I'd love to
see.
see like being able to fuse like a fairy with something. Like put
I was thinking monsters too. Like before like we got to the consumables part of the question. Like it would be funny if you could fuse enemies
Oh yeah, that
and
would
then
be
like
cool. Yeah, with the super hand,
yeah.
ultra hand. Yeah. I loved seeing the fuse with the like with the big stick and putting it on there. I don't necessarily I know that you can fuse consumable things. And the example they showed in the footage, it was the eyeball from a keys, and you would use that, and then the arrow would kind of seek out what you were shooting at. It kind of made it a kind of a seeking arrow.
Yeah.
But I think you could also have, and we spoke about it on last week's episode, combining anything with any of the choo-choos and making that like shockable, like the same deal with the like shockable, freezable, fire choo-choos, or the ice ones, right?
Yeah.
Have those combined with arrows to make those arrows, and maybe you don't even need to buy then the special arrows. You kind of just craft them, but also combining that with your shield. So maybe you stick a choo-choo on the front of your shield, so that when someone attacks it, it like explodes and they like become frozen, and then you can attack them, and like using that in a strategic way. Because we saw that with the
Yeah.
mushroom, and the mushroom had like an effect of turning into powder, and like the powder would come up, and like the enemy would be shocked by it. So I think there's probably going to be a lot in there that you can use to mix up gameplay, because I feel like the cooking went so far, right? And there were so many different recipes that you could make, and you could find recipes
Yes.
out in the land. Like I remember finding a recipe for like apple pie. But I feel with this, with Fuse and with Ultra Hand and with the cooking and like the potion crafting, there's going to be so much you're going to be able to do in this game that I'm so excited just to see what everyone online does, and just open up Twitter on
Right.
that first weekend when the game's out, and just seeing everyone just going insane that they've figured out that they can make X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. Did you see that, like, someone posted like, I don't know, people, like, also reminiscing of, like, how, um, like, people have been figuring out, like, wacky ways to, like, use all of the mechanics in the game to do, like, insane shit since, like, 2017. Even people still finding new ways to, like, play the game, even outside of speedrunning. Someone was like, "This guy's been playing Tears of the Kingdom for, like, for years," and, like, it's a clip of this guy. He's using the magnet ability to, make himself, like, float in the
That's
sky.
insane.
Yeah, it with using a minecart,
Oh my
and he's, like,
god.
in the air, like, fighting a guardian, like a flying guardian. I was like, people who are, like, avid Breath of the Wild gamers are, like, on another level. Already playing Tears of the Kingdom.
So I think I love that. I love the fact that the developers saw that stuff and was just like, okay, people are breaking the game in ways we didn't ever expect them to with these abilities. So they just made the ability for you to do that, so everyone can do that in the new game. So it's
Exactly.
like everyone
Yeah.
can fly. Everyone can build these like ridiculous machines that will take you across the world. I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited to see what people do with it.
Right?
Then
Overwhelmed.
the next question about Zelda: speculate wildly about what the Tears of the Kingdom DLC will be.
Whew. I feel like the wildest speculation I could come up with is time travel, which would like as like bandwidth resource wise be impossible. Like imagine that so if, I guess like a more realistic um DLC expectation could be like um
Well, they had some weird DLCs on the on Breath of the
the
Wild.
Xenoblade too.
Oh
Um
yeah, we had that stuff coming.
yeah.
But remember the motorcycle they added? They added in the. Do you remember the hero map or whatever it was called, where it would show you the route that you'd been on the map and every single place you died when you played the game, and you
Oh,
could like
I hadn't gotten that.
see it. It was really
No.
weird. It was such a bizarre like addition to the game. But then you had like
Very
the
much.
story additions, which went a little bit more um into each of the kind of divine beasts, and kind of some of their backstories, which was quite cool. I could
Alright.
see so I think if shrines aren't in the game, which I don't think they are, I think everyone's going to complain about it, because people love to complain about anything. And I think
Mhm.
that's going to be a DLC, that they add shrines in, so that when you're finished with the game and you're just out exploring, you can buy the DLC, and then you do what you did in Breath of the Wild and you go and find the shrines. and it gives you something else to do, and you've unlocked some more puzzles. I don't think there'll be 120 like there was in Breath of the Wild. I think maybe like
Right.
50, and you've got to go find them. But I think shrines with the new abilities will be really, really cool. I'd like to see them explore that. Um, I'd love to see them make a different playable character as a DLC. I don't
I
think they
know. I was
will,
thinking that.
but like we've played Link forever. Let's play someone else for a change.
Everyone was hoping that point blank Zelda would be playable in this game. Like there was like as part of the plot line, like you have to play as Zelda in certain parts. But um I mean like some people are saying she's uh not even gonna be in the game at all. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
she's in the footage that we saw the initial trailer, right? Where she's like
Right.
falling and Link's reaching for her. Seems
Yeah.
like maybe she dies, and that's like the beginning of the game. Is she's dead, and then Link's got to try and save her, right? And maybe she's there at the end of the game. And
Again.
potentially they do the same shit that they did with Breath of the Wild, where there's those memories around the place, and that's how
Yeah.
they kind of tied her in previously. But I agree, it would be nice if you could play as Zelda in a game called Zelda.
Yeah, right? It's what everyone's wanted for so long. I guess if they put that behind DLC, fine. That's fair, I guess. But also like people like when DLC incorporates like harder boss fights. Um it'd be interesting if they could bring back like previous enemies from like
Hmm.
other games or just harder versions of the fights that exist. I mean, like, it also makes you wonder, like, since we had blights like, in Breath of the Wild, like, what is this game's version of that going to be? Is it gonna be just, like, the same thing, or, like, is it gonna be something completely different?
I
Would
hope
you
it's
know?
something new. I kind of feel
Yeah.
like there's so much the same there with the map and the world and the visual style, and a lot of the elements of crafting and things seem to be pulled over from Breath of the Wild. I would like
Yeah.
to see something new. It looked like there were new enemies. I mean, that enemy that kind of, it looked like he'd ripped off a door and was holding it in the footage, and that's why you had to like spike him with a long stick.
Mhm.
It seemed like that was a new enemy that I'd not seen in Breath of the Wild. So potentially we get something new, some new additions to even the whole of the Zelda series. It would be nice rather than kind of exploring everything. And I said on the last episode, I really hope the Yika Clan is not in this because they got so tedious after a while.
I hated them. Oh my god. Just very annoying. Just swatted just, like, I just ran away from them or, like, completely avoided those interactions. I did what
It
I
stops you,
absolutely
right? Like it stops you
yeah.
wanting to interact with people out in the real world, like out when you're out and about. And I wanted to do that, but every single time I was like, oh, he's just going to turn into a guy with a fucking bananas obsession, and I just cannot be bothered with that. I really could not.
I know. I think it seemed like it wasn't avoidable. So for story purposes, you do all those things like the Yiga hideout and whatnot, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't, and they didn't really provide anything to the experience that felt like it would have been missed if they weren't there.
Yeah,
Just like the game's de facto Team Rocket, but worse because you would kind of miss if Team Rocket wasn't there.
yeah. We had Chloe on the last episode, and she said that she went and did Ganon with three of the divine beasts, and not all four of them, because she hated the Yiga Clan hideout level so much that she never finished it.
Respect.
She just could not do it. Last two questions before we close out the show from AV here. What, if anything, did you pick up before the closure of the 3DS and Wii U eShops? I got Kasploosh, a game where you play a rock that's been thrown down a well. When I read Kasploosh, I thought it was that sploosh game that you play in Zelda. Christ, what's the name of the game? Wind Waker. In Wind Waker, and you go and you play, and you like it's. I think it's like battleships, and you go, and he just goes sploosh when it like goes into the water. I used to love that little mini game. It was great.
Aw, that's amazing. I never played Wind Waker, I still need to do that.
Yeah, Wind Waker is the one missing from the Switch. As soon as it comes to the Switch, please pick it up because it's one of my favorites. It's a really, really great
Oh
game.
my god. I'm impatiently waiting. I want it.
Yeah. Did you pick anything up? I don't have a 3DS or a Wii U anymore, so I didn't bother picking anything up. I know Chewy, if he was on the show, would be giving out a massive list of games that he picked up
Mhm.
because he was talking in our group chat about everything that he picked up and games that we should pick up. But neither of us. I didn't get anything. I don't know about you, right?
So last year I did like a big haul and I got some Pokemon. I got a couple Pokemon titles that I didn't already have on the 3DS. So Puzzle League and then one other that I'm not remembering. Um I in you know, typical ADHD fashion waited until literally minutes to like the time that it was shutting down to be like, "Oh, maybe I should try, like, one last time to see if there's anything I want." I at 7:58 was trying to get Pokemon Transporter because I had bank, and everyone on Twitter was saying, "Guys, guys, guys, mayday, mayday. If you don't get Pokemon Transporter, like, only having Pokemon Bank will be pointless. So go get it." Shit! So, I tried to log on to the eShop in time, but even at 7:59, the little eShop guy, the bag was just staring at me like,
Oh no!
"We're done." So, I missed it, it's okay.
Oh, that's so
That's what I get
bad.
for procrastinating.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would have left it to the last minute and then kicked myself. One shoe we highlighted was Shovel Knight Treasure Trove for $5.99 when it's
Uh,
$39.99 over on the Switch. But yeah, I don't own either console anymore, and I don't miss either of them. Um,
mhm.
I've never had a Wii U, and I definitely don't miss the 3DS. I did not like that console that much. Uh,
Yeah.
Last question, an easy one, says AV, that hasn't come up for a while. What games are you currently playing on your Switch?
Ah. So, I'm still in the throes of Scarlet and Violet. I am playing that very much. I have been playing Animal Crossing still. I haven't restarted my island or anything. I'm just trying to play more. A problem I find that I'm having is I escape from the capitalism I participate via my full-time job to go do more capitalism in Animal Crossing by selling things. And I'm like, "Wait a second. This is supposed to be escapism. Why am I doing more work?" I'm logging off of work and doing extra work in a different universe. Like, so I've been trying to like do less crafting and selling and more like working on like terraforming like island projects. So,
Just make it nice
yeah.
for your villagers and just think that you're living in a commune and it's all local currency, so it never goes anywhere else and it's fine. You'll be okay then.
That's true, that's true. And then other than that, I was playing, 2 indies for a while, Akka and, Melatonin, which I could not recommend more. Melatonin's a rhythm game, Akka is, an Animal Crossing-like game where you play as a, red panda who is, retired from war, who's a veteran of war, and is, like, living a cozy life on a glob how do you say the word? Like these islands that
Galapagos.
yeah, there you go. Galapagos of islands where like it's like a small community and he goes and he runs little errands to help other villagers. It's very cute.
How do you spell it?
So Akka, AKA, is the red panda game.
Ah.
Yeah, and then melatonin is the other one.
Oh, it looks really cute. Yeah, I love the look of this. I think definitely clicked on it before because the link was purple on Google. I think you must have spoken about it before. I'm playing at the moment on my Switch. The only thing I've been playing of of late is Stardew Valley. I started a new island again, or a new island, a new farm again, but I picked one of the different styles I'd never played before. It's the one with like the verticality in it, like there's different areas that you can go to.
Oh, cool.
And I love that game. I absolutely love Stardew Valley. I've played it on so many platforms, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. It's just something nice to play at the end of the day when you just want to relax. I tried playing Splatoon 3 again when I finally fixed my Joy-Cons. I just couldn't get back into it. And
Mm,
and I was just like, I kind of feel like I've had my run of Splatoon 3, which was a real shame because I was really excited for that one because I loved Splatoon 2 so much. It just didn't land as hard as I thought it would. I don't know why. I really don't know why.
right. I get that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for joining me, Sierra, and for
Oh, thanks
answering
for having me,
uh,
as
answering
always.
all these millions of questions. Um, if you want to ask any questions for next week's show, like Olaf, DevTimmy, and AV did, then please do get in touch. You can email us at questions@flipscreen.games, or you can join us over on our Discord, which is probably the best way to get into contact with us. You can find us everywhere on the web, over on flipscreen.games. That's our website. If you want to support us on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/flipscreengames, and we shall see you on the next episode. Bye for now.